Hey, what's going on, guys? JTK here. Welcome back to another video. In this one today, we are going to finally finish off the top 10 video series that I've been doing with all the weapons, and in this one it's going to be the SMGs. Now, quick overview with just how an SMG is useful for zombies. SMGs are mainly just used for getting points and whatnot. Obviously, you're not going to be using an SMG to deal damage because most SMGs aren't really high up there in terms of damage, so for that they're mainly only really used for getting points. So obviously we're going to have some criteria when it comes to the SMGs, as we do with any normal weapon that we do with the top 10. So our first criteria is going to be points. Like I said before, SMGs, they're kind of just made to be like a quick weapon that you can pick off the wall and you could just spray down hordes with so that you can get a ton of points. In the mid to early rounds, probably like round 5 to round 15 is kind of when you'll be using an SMG and when it's really useful. Other than that though, our next one is going to be the accessibility. Now, accessibility is going to be very important with SMGs because, like I said before, they're kind of just used from time to time. You'll just pick them up from the wall and then that's kind of just it. So obviously you just want to have that quick accessibility, just that quick access so you can grab it and then just go. So for that, accessibility for our second one. And our third criteria is going to go to mobility. Now, obviously, if you're training around with SMGs, they're usually very, very lightweight. So you want to use that to your advantage so you can move around quickly if you need to buy more ammo and whatnot, because SMGs usually run out of ammo pretty quickly as well due to that fire rate. So with these three criteria out of the way with, I got nothing much else to say, so let's just jump right into it. Now, coming in for our number 10 spot is going to be going to the VMP from Black Ops 3. Now, the VMP is very, very solid in terms of ammo and accessibility. You can pretty much get it off of any single wall on any single map. It's very, very good in terms of accessibility. I always put this off on Revelations whenever I do play that map. Very, very useful in terms of that, but I do have a few problems with it. One, the control is a little bit off. I find it whenever I use it, at least, the recoil kind of goes all over the place. I usually just end up hip firing with it because its ADS is really, really bad. Other than that though, I don't really like the mobility either. This just might be me with the mobility, but I do find it to be a little bit slow compared to other SMGs that are higher up on this list. So mobility, it's also really lacking in. And the points, it's really, really good in terms of points, very solid, but I don't really like it that much. It does like a medium damage range, so it's kind of in an awkward spot where I would much rather have like a different SMG, but I would also have like an AR if I'm just trying to do more damage. So for that, I do think the VMP is a very, very solid SMG, especially if you're playing multiplayer. It's very, very good in multiplayer, but this is zombies, and in zombies, it's kind of just all right. So for that, it's deserving of the number 10 spot. Now, coming in at our number 9 spot is going to be going to the Kuda from Black Ops 3. Now, it was very close between the Kuda and the VMP, but I'm obviously just going to go with the Kuda. I personally like the Kuda a lot more than the VMP. I know that might be a little bit controversial, but for me, I find the Kuda to have a little bit better mobility in terms of just moving around and training. I find the Kuda to be a lot more comfortable to use in terms of that, and it is also a lot better in terms of control as well. The recoil isn't going all over the place whenever I'm using the Kuda, and I can easily hip fire or ADS with it. Doesn't really matter. So in terms of those two things, it's very, very useful. In terms of points, the Kuda and the VMP are kind of the same, so I'm not really going to judge it too much based on that. And accessibility, again, both of them are pretty much bought off the wall, but I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on this, but I think the Kuda is a little bit less points. So for that, Kuda, it's going to come above the VMP at our number 9 spot, but just barely. I do like the Kuda a little bit more. Now, coming in at our number 8 spot is going to be going to the MX9 from Black Ops 4. Now, I know some of you might say that the Black Ops 4 point system is a lot different from the Black Ops 3 point system. Let's just imagine that we're in a world where the MX9 was released on the Black Ops 3 and before system that we know and love, like where you shoot a bullet into a zombie and it does 10 points, and then if you kill them with a headshot, it adds like another 30 on top of the 60 that you normally get. So let's just pretend that we're in that realm, and the MX9 will perform very, very well in terms of points. Not the best because it does do a pretty high amount of damage. It is a Black Ops 4 weapon, and they tried to balance out all the guns in terms of that because of the point system. So the damage makes the points a little bit lower, but it still is pretty solid. I find the mobility to also be very solid as well with the MX9. I've never felt like I'm moving really slow whenever I'm running around the map when I'm using the MX9 and whatnot. You can also grab stand up with the modifier slot on Black Ops 4. Pretty much just sprint around wherever you want. but just based by itself, it's not too bad either. I would also say that the accessibility is also very, very strong with the MX-9 because you can pretty much just buy it off of any wall buy in any single map that you're playing on. It's very, very good in terms of all three categories that we're talking about, but I just find that there's other SMGs out there that can just do this a lot better, but the MX-9 is still very solid and is deserving of the number 8 spot. Now, coming in at our number 7 spot is going to be going to the Scorpion Evo from Origins in Black Ops 2. Now, the only downside that I can really see with this weapon is both the ammo and the accessibility. Obviously, the accessibility is a little bit lacking because you do have to get it from the box, which does kind of suck, but it does very, very well in terms of points. The fire rate is incredibly quick, so it does burn through ammo a little bit fast, but it destroys zombies and you can get a ton of points very, very quickly. Due to it having a very fast fire rate, you can shoot a ton of bullets instantly at once, get a ton of points, and kill any zombie in your way. It's a really good gun to train with. The mobility is also very, very, very good. I find that moving with the Scorpion Evo is very, very easy, especially on a map like Origins with all the mud and whatnot. I would definitely recommend that you run this gun if you do get it out of the box. So for that, I will be putting this gun at the number 7 spot. Now, coming in at our number 6 spot is going to be going to the HG40 from Black Ops 3, both on Zetsubo and Garad Krovi. Now, the HG40 was a really underrated weapon when it first came out, from what I remember. I know a lot of people didn't really like the HG40 because they wanted the MP40 instead, but the HG40 is still a really, really solid point-making weapon. Obviously, you can use it to get a lot of points because it has really, really good ammo, and the damage is low enough, and the fire rate is high enough so that you can just shoot down zombies, get a decent time to kill, and you can also rack up a ton of points when you use it as well. Only problems that I have with it is similar to the Scorpion Evo, where it's only accessible through the box. You can only get the HG40 and the Scorpion from the box, which does kind of suck, but it does make up for it compared to the Scorpion Evo because the HG40 has a lot of ammo, and that just makes this gun a lot better in my opinion. I know a lot of people are probably going to put the Scorpion above, but in my opinion, just from what I've experienced and my experience with the HG40, I do find it to be a little bit more comfortable to use compared to the Scorpion Evo, and so for that, I'm going to be placing the Scorpion Evo at the number 6 spot. Now, coming in for our number 5 spot is going to be going to the Vesper from Black Ops 3. Now, the Vesper is really, really solid, especially on maps where it has a really good wall buy location, like on Garad Krovi. That's kind of the high round strategy, is to stay down there, buy the Vesper, and just constantly buy ammo for it for the alternate ammo types to get to high rounds. Not only that, though, it does have a really good point-making capability. It shoots really, really fast, so it kills zombies quick, but it also has a low damage, so you can shoot a ton of bullets, sort of similar to the Scorpion Evo, and then kill a ton of zombies right afterwards. And for that, I do find the points to be really solid when using the Vesper. It also has really, really solid mobility as well. It's a pretty small, compact weapon, so you can move around with it pretty quickly whenever you're just holding it around or training zombies. It also has, like I said before, really good accessibility, especially on maps like Garad Krovi, but also on just every single Black Ops 3 map, you can just pretty much buy it off of any single wall buy. So for that, I definitely do think that the Vesper deserves the number 5 spot. Now, coming in at our number 4 spot, just right above the Vesper, is going to be the Spitfire from Black Ops 4. Now, the Spitfire is very, very similar to the Vesper from Black Ops 3. Now, the Spitfire does pretty much about the same fire rates, but I do want to put the Spitfire just a little bit above because it is a little bit more accessible. I find it on pretty much every single map that I do play on. It has really good wall buys, and I also do find the mobility to be slightly a little bit up in the edge. But what makes the Spitfire just overall better, in my opinion, is the operator mod, the rapid fire attachment, where you can pretty much just shoot like crazy. You can do a ton of damage instantly to zombies. You can kill them really quickly, and then you can just kind of buy ammo whenever you need to as well. So for that, all around, just a very solid weapon, and is deserving just right above the Vesper at our number 4 spot. Now, moving into our top 3 best SMGs of all time, this is kind of the kings and the most iconic SMGs ever. At our number 3 spot, it's going to be going to the MP40 from pretty much every single Call of Duty Zombies game up to date. The MP40, obviously being put in every single COD game, it has everything that an SMG needs. It has really, really good accessibility, especially on a map like Origins. You can buy it off the mound. It's really, really good, accessible, multiple spots on multiple maps, just really good in terms of accessibility. The mobility is also very, very nice with this gun as well. I find it to be really, really quick whenever you're moving around with it. Mobility just very, very solid. The ammo is also just really solid as well. I find it to be a really good, decent amount of ammo. The damage isn't too high for a point building weapon, but it also isn't too low where you're not killing any zombies at all. I find it to be kind of in a very, very comfortable middle area in terms of just killing zombies and building points very, very well as well. Overall, I find the MP40 to just kind of be like a huge overall GOAT when it comes to the SMGs in the zombie scene, and for that is deserving of the number 3 spot. Now, coming in at our number 2 spot, this is going to be going to the PPSH from both World at War and Black Ops 3. I know there's a variant on Cold War as well, but we're not going to be including that one because of all the different attachments and stuff that go on it, and the stats are just very, very different overall. But the PPSH is obviously just a GOAT in terms of zombies weapons in general. Obviously, in the early days, it was the gun that everyone was trying to go for on World at War, and is still pretty solid in Black Ops 3 and able to keep up with the other Black Ops 3 weapons as well. I do find the ammo to be the big strong suit when it comes to the PPSH. It holds a ton of ammo, which is really good for both zombies and for the SMG as well. Kind of makes up for it having a bad accessibility because you can only get it from the box. But with its ammo, definitely just makes up for it overall. And the point making capability is almost perfect with this weapon. The rate of fire is ridiculous, so you kill zombies really quickly and you can make a ton of points at the same time. So for that, I definitely do think that the PPSH deserves a high spot up on the list. Probably one of the best guns in zombies ever too as well. And the mobility, it also has a really strong mobility as well. I do find it to be really, really easy to move around with the PPSH, especially with the drum mag on. It doesn't really seem too slow when moving around with it. Overall, it's kind of just the perfect weapon to use for zombies because it kills zombies really quickly, builds you a lot of points, has a ton of ammo. Only thing that's a downside from it is the accessibility, but it does make up for it from all those other stats and is deserving of the number 2 spot. Now, I'm just going to throw in a quick honorable mention before we get into our number 1 spot. This is going to be going to the MP5 and the MP5K from both Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 1. Now, the MP5, it's very, very good at making points because the damage is really, really low. The rate of fire is also just pretty solid as well. Not too bad, but I don't really find it to be useful at killing zombies. I usually always get rid of it after like round 10 because it just becomes too useless after that point. But it is really good at making points, and the mobility is also very solid. It's a wall buy as well, so it is very good at all that. I just don't really find the ammo to be high either. I always have to go back to the wall buy to buy ammo. So for that, I'm going to be keeping it just as an honorable mention. Now, I know I'm probably going to get some hate for this number 1 spot, but I do truly think that the M1927 is the best SMG of all time, especially when looking at my criteria at the beginning of the video. It just fits perfectly with this weapon in general. The ammo is very, very solid, especially up there on par with the PPSH. It has really good accessibility. It's a wall buy on pretty much any single game that you're playing on. It's a wall buy on Black Ops 2 on Mob of the Dead. It's also a wall buy on Revelations and Black Ops 3 as well. Very, very solid, and it also has a very, very good point making capability, has a really, really fast fire rate, and can kill zombies very solidly as well, while also making you a ton of points. Overall, I know a lot of people are probably going to disagree with me and think that the PPSH deserves the number 1 spot because the PPSH is just an overall goated, very iconic weapon, but I do think that the M1927, looking at my criteria specifically, makes the number 1 spot just because of that accessibility, puts it a little bit above the PPSH in my opinion. So yeah, for that, it definitely deserves the number 1 spot. Anyways, guys, that's going to wrap up this video for today. Hopefully you did enjoy. Definitely leave a like, subscribe, do all that, to leave a comment down below if you want to see me do any other type of content. And go down in the description as well. Check out the Comfy Cushion podcast. Hopefully we're going to get a guest on sometime this week. So that should be all a lot of fun. And yeah, I got nothing much else to say, so peace.